and wait, actually, no, it's not that bad. I thought it was much worse. It's right now it's 29.3. Uh, CoinW, I feel like the price lags behind a bit. That's what I'm just trying to say.
No, it definitely
Yeah,
does.
I think Marcello was saying the same thing because he
Yeah.
would trade like the 1 minute, and he said
I know.
he could see the
Yeah.
price action on Binance like a second before
Yeah,
it occurred on CoinW.
No, that's right.
but this is a trading thing though. Arbitrage, it's a very
Yeah.
very solid strategy. They both offer the same asset, but you can capitalize on the price difference. It's very small though, but
So are we going live like now?
Yeah, we
It's
live,
1:45.
but there's no one. I'm just waiting for people to join.
Oh, okay.
oh, are we going live now?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right, cool.
Sorry, I probably should say that. Yeah, let's see. How's it, guys? Yeah. Welcome to the channel. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes until a lot more people join, but just stand by. We still have another 15 minutes until the actual rates that come out. So I'll give it another 5 minutes and then we will start getting involved.
So I think like the real action is gonna come at 2:30 or
Yeah.
11:30 your time, Dylan.
Yeah.
So I think it's really going to be about his future, I guess his future outlook in terms of rate cuts.
Yeah, because I mean it's already been priced in already, so
Yeah, it's like 98.5%. That's going to be 25 basis points.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like what's not priced in is what's the like forward outlook, I guess. Yeah, because like for September it's like 77% of no hike, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And then November. Yes, I really think it's gonna. If you look at December, it has a 56% chance of like rates staying the same, but actually higher, like a 1/3% chance of going up another 25 after this one.
Yeah.
So I think it's really
It's
I
literally
think there's gonna be a volatility in the second half of the meeting for sure.
How's it, guys? Yeah, while we wait, I do have the Bitcoin chart on the screen, so just have a look. This is kind of my prediction on where I think price is gonna go. But this is based on if we get we need to see like a 1 hour or a 2 hour like closure above or below these levels. So we're just gonna wait a couple minutes and then we'll start to speak about the meeting. And yeah. I found this tool on CoinGlass for crypto long versus shorts. It shows you the ratio of longs versus shorts. It gives you like basically you can go on the 5 minute, the 15 minute, the 30 minutes, 1 hour, and then daily, weekly. And basically it shows you if there's more longs or shorts based on all the exchanges, and it gives you like a graph, which has actually been I've been using it for trading because it kind of tells you when to stay in your long or when to stay or when to take out. Because because when I trade on the 5 minute, it might just say yeah the momentum is actually coming down. Yeah, you could exit a short. So it's a very very cool tool that I've been using.
Can you link it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, guys, if you did hear that, there's a question here. Is it going to favor the dollar or against today? Yeah, I mean, that obviously depends, right? When we look at the dollar chart right now, if you look at the Dixie, for example, this was basically my analysis on the 4 hour time frame. So we were at that support at 100, basically 99.7, and I was expecting price to come back up to 100.80, around about that area, and see a retracement, but we actually, broke above that level. So if you look at the daily chart here, it's still very bearish, right? But we do need to realize that right now crypto is not really following what the dollar is doing in terms of being inversely proportional. So I think we need to just more look at what Powell says about the rates when he starts to speak, because that's obviously what we need to focus on. We don't really need to be looking at the dollar. Obviously, when the market starts to settle out, it might start being correlated again. But at the moment, yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think in general the dollar is. I mean, the dollar is in a downtrend on the monthly now, and the weekly and the daily.
Major indices to see how all the other stocks perform too, and see if that kind of also bleeds into the crypto market.
Yeah.
See if there's any after effect on that end.
Have you guys seen the? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Boris.
Have you guys seen the Nasdaq today, or the equity market? Seems like
Yeah,
they're
actually,
having kind of a down day.
It's not doing great.
Yeah.
I was actually trading the Nasdaq today.
Oh yeah.
Took a short on US 100. Let me pull up the chart here. Yeah. I mean, on the daily chart, it doesn't look too great.
It looks like it might be setting in like a lower high,
Yeah,
a lower
exactly.
low, perhaps.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait for the daily to close.
I also think this could be topped out as well, to be honest. If you have a look at the weekly chart as well, that previous week wick, I mean, it looks like it's just about to come down, yeah.
You guys
Yeah,
are looking at NDX?
I'm looking at NAS 100.
Yeah.
So I think NDX is like all the components, but I think the NASDAQ 100 is more.
Yeah.
It's like the more important indice, but I know some people do trade the
Quite
the
similar.
regular composite.
They are
But
quite
yeah.
similar.
Topping out, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the weekly, we are approaching like weekly resistance on both SPY and NASDAQ.
Curious to see how everything reacts from here.
Yeah, so
If there is a big sell-off, it'll be pretty bad for crypto, I assume.
yeah, I see a lot more people have joined now. Welcome to the stream. Today we have Boris and Eric. We are all copy traders on the CoinW exchange. I will show you guys the link just now after we see some action, so you can see that you can follow us on the exchange. If you do need help with that, there is a link in the bio where you can actually join our group, and then you can message us on there if you need any help with assistance with that. But essentially today we will be speaking about the FOMC meeting, and I do want to tell you a little bit about it so you understand what we're going to be speaking about, right? So the FOMC statement is crucial for crypto investors as it influences the US monetary policy and the value of the dollar. So basically, if you have high interest rates, it might push investors towards safer assets like bonds and away from crypto, right? And then conversely, if it's low rates, you can boost crypto investments. So additionally, a weak dollar or inflation fears can drive investments into crypto as long as inflation as an inflation hedge, right? So even without mentioning cryptocurrencies, the FOMC statement can affect the market significantly. So yeah, thanks so much for joining. If you guys do have questions, make sure you put it in the chat. And yeah, over to Boris and Eric. Thanks so much for joining the stream today. It's always a pleasure speaking to you guys and having you here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with
definitely a pleasure.
with you guys again. I think it's like our third stream. So
Yeah.
our third stream covering the FOMC meeting. So for those who don't know me, my name is Boris. I'm also a copy trader and analyst for CoinW. I've been with CoinW since March, and like Dylan said, you can find us on the copy trading platform on CoinW. A little brief introduction about my background. I've been a full-time crypto trader for the past 3.5 years, mostly focusing on trend following, systematic strategy. And yeah, over to you, Eric.
Thank you, Boris, and pleasure to meet everybody. My name is Eric. I've been an institutional trader for about 4 or 5 years now, specializing in cryptos. happy to share any ideas that my experience trading. So really excited to have the opportunity to be on this panel and talk about the FOMC. I know we have been, we've had 2 FOMC streams so far. They've been pretty interesting, but let's see how today the price action will react from today. So we'll see. As Dylan said, cryptocurrencies, generally Bitcoin, have been kind of like a safe haven for assets as a store of value there, especially during economic uncertainty. So if the FOMC, the statements today by Powell are definitely uncertain, we could see a lot of like flight towards cryptos, but we'll have to. That's why we're here. We're gonna analyze it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thanks so much for giving a brief introduction. We will do a bit of shilling at the end in terms of our copy trading account. But yeah, we do have 3 minutes here until the rate does come out. We all know that it's probably going to be 25 basis points, or there's like a 99% chance. But we know that that's already priced in. So honestly, I don't expect too much. I do expect more of a pump and then a dump, just because of the current market structure at the moment. So yeah, 2 more minutes. If you guys do have questions, put in the chat, and it's going to be exciting. I will open agri trade on the 5 seconds. So let's see.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know agri trade, it's basically it shows you all the orders coming in on pretty much all the exchanges, and you can actually go all the way down to, I think the 1 second. So, but obviously it doesn't show much. So we keep it on the 5 second just to make it a bit more interesting, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, the market structure right now is a little bit bullish, but I can also see like a bear flag forming.
Yeah. I think the key level to watch is 29.6 or 29.5.
Yeah.
For the past week, we haven't even touched this level yet for BTC. So I think all traders, investors should definitely take that as a kind of cue, and just to align, your your trading time horizon with how the price action is also performing. And I think the patterns will definitely reveal themselves in due time, but it's very important for these prices, these important resistances and supports to be cleared first.
Yeah.
Before we can actually decide on it.
I think it would make sense if we do have like a pump to 29.6 to retest the breakdown zone, and then we kind of like fall back down and maybe have further bearish continuation. I think that would be kind of like a logical thing.
We're seeing a little bit of a shake off right now in BTC. Yeah, currently at 29.2.
Yeah, so there's 45 seconds here. So yeah, that's gonna be very interesting. Let's see what happens here. You can see on the 5 second chart quite a bit of liquidations as well. But obviously, let's see what happens here.
Thankfully, I have very small size right now for BTC. Don't really want to put on a full size at the moment.
Let's see. 14 seconds. Yeah, let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? Do you think it's gonna pump, or do you think it's gonna go down? What are your guys' predictions? We do have I've got Asian highs over here, and then Asian lows. Here we go. Let's see what happens.
Looks like it's pumping for now.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Wow.
Let's see if it takes out Asian highs.
Oh, that's incredible.
29,400.
Wow.
There we go. Oh, there it is. If you look at agri trade, you can see all the orders coming in now.
I think range bound, if you want me to be honest.
Yeah, you can see now.
I think I'm leaning there.
Do you think it's dumping? Yeah, someone said it's going to dump. Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is just the beginning of You know,
Yeah, I think it's gonna do both.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
typically what happens during
Yeah,
FOMC meetings.
we saw this last time.
Yeah, you can't really do much. Yeah, I would expect to take out the highs and then come back down though. To be honest, 29,414 is the Asian high. So what normally happens is when in Asian session, you form a high and low, and then throughout like New York session, you see like normally what happens, you normally take out the high or that low or just ranges within the Asian high and low. So it's important to obviously chart that out. So I did put them on the chart so you guys can see. It is coming down a bit now. So obviously I mean we can go to the chart and see. Yeah, it was priced in 5.5. So a
So yeah,
0.25.
as expected.
Yeah, as expected. Let's see though, if you look at the 5-second chart here, it is moving quite a lot. Okay. But I mean, obviously, like we don't advise any trading right now. Just wait. Um, my predictions on the chart still stand. But we need to wait for obviously all the information to come out, and then we can make a decision. So this is just us looking at the chart, giving opinions on what we think is going to happen. But at the moment, we don't suggest any type of trading.
What are you guys' thoughts on Ethereum relative to BTC?
Yeah, let's have a look at a few of the altcoins in ETH. Let's go see it, yeah. If you guys have any coins that you want us to go over, you can put that in the chat. We always love going over different types of alts. Yeah, ETH pretty much done the same thing, yeah. Let's have a look here.
I mean, just looking at the ETH BTC chart, it looks like it's going sideways relative to Bitcoin. So I think whatever Bitcoin does, Ethereum's just gonna follow.
Yeah.
I don't see it like, going like devaluing it against Bitcoin. Neither do I see it like gaining value over Bitcoin, because just looking at the daily chart of FBTC, it looks like it's just going in a kind of like in a sideways range for now.
Yeah, I agree. I want to have a look at Dogecoin, see what's happening there. Let's see, yeah. Yeah, so this was, if you look at my chart here on the screen, guys, basically Dogecoin broke below that trend line that I was speaking about in the Telegram group, and basically I was expecting price to come back down to this low, which it did, and it is getting a massive bounce here, which is quite interesting compared to Bitcoin. Do you guys see any other altcoins that are moving?
Yeah. So one that sticks out to me is Solana. It's definitely bucking the trend against the rest of the market. It's up, I think, 6% as of now.
Okay, let's have a look at Sol.
Yeah, I'm curious what are your guys' thoughts, because I'm actually
Take a look at
I did
this.
enter a Solana short based on the daily time frame a couple of days ago, but I might have to exit it tonight depending on the daily close. But
That's interesting that it's up 6%.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, if you look at Sol, it's like right now, it still hasn't broken that high. Where, yeah, it's kind of like a double top that's been formed here. So I don't expect it to. I mean, if it starts closing above 24, 25, then maybe exit the position. But until then, I think it's still fine.
I think with Solana, like many other altcoins, as long as BTC and ETH and other majors are not breaking their respective intraday ranges, I think Solana and other smaller altcoins could
following the SEC decision. So I think there might be a potential for a short squeeze here. And also, it's just kind of like touching down on the 21 daily exponential moving average, which is kind of like a moving average that I pay a lot of attention to. So I kind of took that. Yeah, I kind of just took it earlier today, just as a hedge against my short positions. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Bitcoin doing nothing. I mean, CPI is like in terms of volatility, CPI definitely takes the trophy there. Like in terms of wicks.
Yeah, when is the next CPI meeting? I mean, the CPI really meeting.
Let me have a look. I think.
Oh, good question. Yeah.
We did have CPI. Was it like last week though? Wasn't it? 2 weeks ago. Let me have a look. Yeah.
August 10th.
August 10th is the next one.
Okay.
That's still a while.
I also think what's important is actually the PPI, because I think the PPI, I don't know, I'm not really a macro guy, but
yeah.
I think the PPI metric could be even more important than the CPI, because really, I don't know what's happening where you live, Dylan, but over here, like everything on the producer side is going up. Like, for example, my car insurance just went up by like 20-30%. And spoke to some of my family members, and their car insurance went up. And it's like, and like my father spoke to his car insurance representative, and he said, yeah, you know, it's like the cost of employing car mechanics is going up, the car parts are going up. So, you know, when I'm like listening to that kind of information, it makes me think that if producer prices are going to go up, that's going to affect consumer prices. So I think actually, and I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I think inflation is still here and might actually go higher later this year.
Yeah,
that's just
year over year
kind of outlook.
Inflation's up like 4.6%. Inflation is still above the Fed's 2% target, which is definitely something to be concerned about.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's just no. I think we need to look at some alts here. Did you guys see comp today? Obviously, like you can't trade comp on CoinW, but up 16%.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also MKR is a crazy coin.
MKR maker.
Oh, maker.
Yeah. This coin moves like if you look at on the 4 hour, the daily, it's in such an uptrend.
So again, a lot of altcoins are definitely taking advantage of this consolidation.
Yeah.
And by no means am I a long-term holder of these kind of tokens, but you know, there's still.
Sorry guys, they will be back now. Just getting them back. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know while we get them back. I will just wait for them to disconnect. Make sure to ask questions. Like I said on the chart right now, this is what I'm waiting for, right? Waiting for a break of this Asian high here. I want to see this high get taken out at around about this level. Once we break that high, we're probably going to go back up to 29,700. Okay, so let's keep an eye on that. They will be joining in just a second here, so don't worry about that. Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Let me know if there's any thoughts on the current market situation. Obviously, right now, it's not looking good. But yeah, let me know. I will be going over a few other coins. yeah, so let's see what happens here. Make sure you guys do like this video if you are enjoying the content. Essentially, what I'm looking for here for Bitcoin is basically this. I do want to go over a few other coins though, because Bitcoin is obviously very, very boring at the moment. Like Dogecoin, for example, ripping to the upside here. I did actually take some positions on Dogecoin earlier. So let's see here. They will be joining in just a second. Basically, uh, here we go. So this is OTC, right? If you look at OTC right now, right, on the 1 hour, the 15, and the 4 hour, right? Look what's happened here. We had that trend line that I was waiting to get broken today, and it's currently retesting that level, right? So, I didn't actually take this trade, but I was actually meant to basically take the setup, and until we see this retest get successfully retested, then we can look for more sells back down to the downside. Okay, so yeah, currently still looking at this, and then Bitcoin. Let's go back to Bitcoin, looking like it might break these highs here. So we're just gonna get the Boris and Eric back, just so we can. Yeah, so look right now, right? We are breaking these wicks, okay? So this is quite important to note. If you look at the 15 minute here, we did just break this top wick over here, which is obviously a, there it is. There's a rip, okay? That's what we're talking about, right? Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. So 29,450, it broke this previous high. This is what we're talking about. Something like this is what we see. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, you can't really trade this. If you look at agri trade, yeah, let's see. Let's have a look at the 10-second chart. Yeah, we're getting a nice little sell off here as well. Big sell off here. So this is obviously FOMC at its finest, yeah. Yeah, look at the 5 minutes here. It's crazy. Still respecting the zone that we've been speaking about for the past couple of days. Still respecting this level. There's a lot more buying volume in the market though, if you can see here. A lot more buying volume. But obviously it doesn't really mean much here. But that's good though, right? So basically what this means, essentially, if this has to close like this on the 30 minutes, what does that mean? Well, basically what it means is taking out all these highs, right? Every person that was taking a short over here, we're putting the stop losses over here, right? So essentially all of these stop losses got hunted and more shorts were entering at these levels. More shorts, more shorts. So this is obviously good if it closes back below this range. If it starts closing above this range, then we're most probably going to see a wick fill like that, and then a previous test of these highs here. Okay, so very, 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 very basic here. Yeah, let's have a look here at the 5. The 15 just closed. Closed bullish, but didn't close above the range, right? We have our range over here. Didn't close above. So, I mean, you can't really take positions. If you guys do have any questions, let me know. Currently still waiting for Jerome Powell to speak In about 15 minutes here. So make sure you stay until then. It's going to be quite exciting to see what he has to offer here. So it looks like we are coming down here, right? This is what I was talking about. We take the highs, and then we bring back down the price. Okay. I want to see if there's a few other coins. Let's have a look at ETH. 64. So it obviously had that rip. Yeah, that's interesting. Look at the highs, rip back up. OTC, same thing I'm looking at here. Yeah, this is obviously OTC, right? I mean, that's exactly what I wanted for short. This is exactly what I wanted for short for OTC. The reason being, um, retest trade, right? Yeah, I mean, taking shorts at this level is probably not a bad idea, to be honest. Like if you look at the 15 minutes, broke below this level. I think it was the 30 minute. I did actually draw this line. I think it was 1 hour actually. 1 hour, right? Yeah, perfect retest trade. So we'll leave OTC. I mean, this is a setup. I want to see if it plays out. I mean, it's going to be a massive drop if it does. If you guys have any questions, like I said, just put them in the chat. Um, Obviously, right now, Bitcoin is not doing much. We did have that nice run up to 29,450, and then it got shortly taken out. But I'm thinking more of a dump, to be honest with you guys. It does look like we might get more of a dump here, to be honest. Yeah, so Boris and Eric are going to be joining us soon. Right now, we just had a little bit of a. Yeah, so they will be joining us in just a second, yeah. Let's put this over here. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so essentially, look at this, right? This was based on the 1 hour. I was looking at a sell here. We have to look at the dollar as well. See what's happening here. The dollar on the 1 hour chart actually coming down. But basically, Litecoin is pretty much the only setup that I would take here. But like I said, it is quite a risky setup, and the reason why it's risky is based on FOMC, and then we have Powell that's actually speaking within the next 10 minutes or so. Within 8 minutes, we have him. He'll be live, and he will be speaking about the current market condition. But I mean, this setup here looks very clean. Yeah, so Boris and Eric are back. They are joining us. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. Glad you're back.
Are we live?
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was
So-
speaking about OTC. So I had this trend line drawn for OTC on the 1 hour chart, and
What's the name?
OTC Litecoin.
Oh, Litecoin. Got
Yeah,
it.
sorry. And I mean, I was also speaking about Bitcoin closing back in the range. You know, we were speaking about that earlier, trying to tap that 29,500 zone and then closing back in the range. So I think that could be the liquidity sweep for it to come down, to be honest. But obviously
We saw, yeah.
we don't know
Go
what
on.
Powell's gonna say, so. But I mean, if you had to look at this like pure market structure right now, I would still remain, I don't know, for me, still bearish. What are your thoughts?
Again, 29.5 still has not been able to be breached.
Yeah.
Another attempt just now, maybe like 15 minutes ago. I think the high on CoinW was 29445.
29445. Yeah, exactly. Let's see though. I mean, like, if this 30-minute closes below the zone, below 29,300, we could attempt to take out that 29,500, but I don't know. For me, I don't think it's gonna happen.
So if you notice the daily trend line for BTC, we were to connect the kind of the pivots between December 2022, all the way to that big rally in March, and then again, one more time in June. So people are definitely looking at this trend line. What's kind of interesting to me is very, very, very spready.
Yeah.
Don't want to buy as much risk.
Yeah, Powell's about to speak in 4 minutes, so
Yeah, so
I
get
think we're
ready,
going to see hopefully some fireworks, because I think last time it wasn't that exciting.
Quite interesting that on OTC I had this short setup. I didn't take it though, but it would have been so clean. If there wasn't news, it's a beautiful setup. Let's see here. I was looking at the dollar as well. Starting to come up here. Massive wick to the downside.
Solana's still pumping. It's up 7% now, almost 7.5%.
That's so interesting. I wonder why. Let's see.
I wonder if there's anything related to like FTX, because I know FTX was like a big investor in Solana, right?
Yeah.
And now they're just getting the bankruptcy filing started, and they just opened up the claims portal for FTX customers. So, not sure.
It could
Maybe
be.
I think there's like something fundamental going on for sure.
No, 100%. Yeah, I'm not too sure what though. Yeah, that 25 area is definitely the support. Let's see what happens here. It's
All
quite
right,
interesting.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, yeah, 2 minutes, guys, and then Powell actually starts speaking. This is when we will see, I think, a lot more volatility.
Yeah. Did you want to actually have like listen to him talk on
Yeah, I'll put
one
it
of the
up.
channels?
Let me put it up. There we go.
Is fast, secure, and always online. Yet they help pretty much until Powell, or 8 weeks. So, because then they'll be all of that. Then we still got the follow-up earnings. No one cares about the rate hike. We're looking at the path, because then all of the bonds will change. Oh shit, 20 seconds. All right, Chad, get ready. This is their music they play before it. I'm gonna see. I got a couple feeds. Let's see which one comes on first.
I'm not too sure if this is the right.
And maybe, actually, if you look up there's actually like an official
All right, I got
Federal
one.
Reserve YouTube channel,
All right, we're
and
live.
they stream the press
Why are they
conference.
playing the music still? I got a live feed, but they're still
Yeah, I'm on
playing.
the wrong one, yeah.
Trading fraternity? Interesting.
Bloomberg. Oh, here we go. Yeah, here it is. Let's see. I always hate how this guy speaks.
Yeah. Crypto Banter's covering it as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
We should collab with them next time.
Yeah. Obviously, he's taking his time to walk. He is old. Where's this guy?
Yeah, he's usually on time. Like by 2:30, he's already talking.
Yeah, weird. There we go.
Good afternoon.
Here it is.
My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. We understand the hardship that high inflation is causing, and we remain strongly committed to bringing inflation back down to our 2% goal.
Okay.
Price stability is the responsibility of the Federal Reserve. Without price stability, the economy doesn't work for anyone. In particular, without price stability, we will not achieve a sustained period of strong labor market conditions that benefit all. Since early last year, the FOMC has significantly tightened the stance of monetary policy. Today, we took another step by raising our policy interest rate a 1/4 percentage point, and we are continuing to reduce our securities holdings at a brisk pace. We've covered a lot of ground, and the full effects of our tightening have yet to be felt. Looking ahead, we will continue to take a data-dependent approach in determining the extent of additional policy firming that may be appropriate. I'll have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments. Recent indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a moderate pace. Growth in consumer spending appears to have slowed from earlier in the year. Although activity in the housing sector has picked up somewhat, it remains well below levels of a year ago, largely reflecting higher mortgage rates. And higher interest rates and slower output growth also appear to be weighing on business fixed investment. The labor market remains very tight. Over the past 3 months, job gains averaged 244,000 jobs per month, a pace below that seen earlier in the year, but still a strong pace. The unemployment rate remains low at 3.6%. There are some continuing signs that supply and demand in the labor market are coming into better balance. The labor force participation rate has moved up since last year, particularly for individuals aged 25 to 54 years. Nominal wage growth has shown some signs of easing, and job vacancies have declined so far this year. While the jobs to workers gap has narrowed, labor demand still substantially exceeds the supply of available workers. Inflation remains well above our longer run goal of 2%. Over the 12 months ending in May, total PCE prices rose 3.8%. Excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 4.6%. In June, the 12-month change in the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, came in at 3.0%, and the change in the core CPI was 4.8%. Inflation has moderated somewhat since the middle of last year. Nonetheless, the process of getting inflation back down to 2% has a long way to go. Despite elevated inflation, longer-term inflation expectations appear to remain well anchored, as reflected in a broad range of surveys of households, businesses, and forecasters, as well as measures from financial markets. The Fed's monetary policy actions are guided by our mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. My colleagues and I are acutely aware that high inflation imposes significant hardship as it erodes purchasing power, especially for those least able to meet the higher cost of essentials like food, housing, and transportation. We're highly attentive to the risks that high inflation poses to both sides of our mandate, and we are strongly committed to returning to inflation to our 2% objective. At today's meeting, the committee raised the target range for the federal funds rate by a quarter percentage point, bringing the target range to 5.25% to 5.5%. We are also continuing the process of significantly reducing our securities holdings. With today's action, we've raised our policy rate by 5.25 percentage points since early last year. We have been seeing the effects of our policy tightening on demand in the most interest rate sensitive sectors of the economy, particularly housing and investment. It will take time, however, for the full effects of our ongoing monetary restraint to be realized, especially on inflation. In addition, the economy is facing headwinds from tighter credit conditions for households and businesses, which are likely to weigh on economic activity, hiring, and inflation. In determining the extent of additional policy firming that may be appropriate to return inflation to 2% over time, the committee will take into account the cumulative tightening of monetary policy, the lags with which monetary policy affects economic activity and inflation, and economic and financial developments. We will continue to make our decisions meeting by meeting based on the totality of the incoming data and their implications for the outlook for economic activity and inflation, as well as the balance of risks. We remain committed to bringing inflation back to our 2% goal and to keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Reducing inflation is likely to require a period of below-trend growth and some softening of labor market conditions. Restoring price stability is essential to set the stage for achieving maximum employment and stable prices over the longer run. To conclude, we understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
What do you guys think of that?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. You have, I think a couple times in your opening
Well,
remarks,
basically, like
talked about this language.
the first thing he said was remain strongly committed to bringing inflation back down to 2%. So obviously, like that would be bullish in a way. But yeah,
So we haven't made.
not too sure. What are your thoughts?
I was hoping to hear like some views on like forward interest rate hikes, but
Yeah, there was no.
I didn't really get anything. It was just basically the same old talk that he's been saying for the past FOMC meetings, that they're strongly committed to bringing inflation down. You know, they have the necessary tools, and the only tool is to print money or not
Yeah.
print as much money.
Exactly.
So I'm not really getting much from this guy's this guy's speech again.
This guy.
It's like
Mr. Powell, of course.
yeah, BTC at 29.35 right now.
Oh yeah, let's have a
Quite
look here.
interesting. It's digesting it well.
Yeah, Solana's now up to 8%. So
Let's see. If you guys have any coins you want us to go over, put it in the chat. But it looks like Bitcoin is looking more bullish here, to be honest.
yeah, another one that's kind of pumping is Optimism. I don't know if you guys took a look at that,
I do look at
but it's
Optimism.
up 4%, and I think it was only up like 1% when we started the
Ooh,
stream. So
yeah. If you look at Optimism, yeah, you're right. This is good. What else? There was Solana that you were talking about. So I can't
yeah.
see many other. Yeah, 8.85%. That's crazy. There's definitely something happening here.
Yeah, I imagine Bitcoin's like pumping right now, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, 400.
29.4 was reached
Okay.
again.
Solana. I think I'm probably gonna get stopped out of my short while I'm in this shit. Oh well.
Yeah, so on the 5 minute, it obviously closed above that range. Hasn't closed above since the 24th on Monday. Well, never actually closed above. So we have to wait and see how the 30-minute closes here, because that's probably what's going to tell us, and that's also the hourly close. And then we have a bit more direction, because we can't really do much now on the lower time frames. But there is a bottom. There's no bottom wick on the 5 minutes, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, I was kind of figuring that Bitcoin would be like pumping more, just looking at how Solana's moving, but it's only up like 0.25%. So I think it's just really like Solana and maybe Optimism that's really moving right now.
Yeah, the thing with Solana, I do think it's limited upside for this token. Just drawing some trendline resistance, it seems like $27 is where it's probably going to, be kind of meted out a bit, in my opinion, if the buy momentum is to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about that?
Let me have a look. Looks like, yeah, Bitcoin. If Bitcoin breaks that previous 445, I think we're gonna take out the 29,500. Yeah, so for Solana, what you're saying, yeah, I mean, I think it has to, in order for it to like take out that bearish trend on the 4 hour, it needs to break that 26 level. That's what I'm looking at here.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
But it's actually, it's pumping. Up 9%.
Up 10% now. So alt season is upon us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Link is up 3%. Let's see what else.
Yeah, so all the altcoins are moving well. Solana is outperforming today. How about Dogecoin? Let's see.
Oh, Bitcoin touched that 500, literally on the dot.
Oh.
Eric now actually is talking about having a soul limit at that area. Literally, I think it's this is on Binance.
It didn't reach it, almost, but not yet.
On Binance, 29,500.0. That's crazy.
Did it get hit?
Yeah. That's very, very.
How come I see 29,499? Interesting.
I'm on perpetual. What's your?
Oh, you're on the perpetual. I see.
Yeah.
Got you. I'm on the spot.
Okay. Yeah, that's different. But yeah, I think this is looking quite bullish, to be honest.
Yeah.
Good thing I was out of those shorts earlier, because.
Yeah, my Bitcoin long is doing good.
Yeah.
Earlier.
Where did you long?
My average price was $29,313.
Okay.
Not bad, not bad.
You guys can see it right here. I don't know if you can see it.
Not really.
Whatever.
But I think though, if BTC is gonna pump from here, there's still a lot of resistance to clear, like 29.8, 30,000. Like these are definitely significant levels.
Oh yeah. There's no way it's just gonna break
Yeah.
it.
I think the focus should still be on altcoins for now. They do seem to be more in play, but I think it also depends on which kind as well. So
Yeah.
pretty much bullish for me on alts for the meantime. Doge hit 0.07.
Do you wanna maybe go back to the Q&A session?
Yeah, let's have a look here.
Maybe he said something that
Replicated or
made the market.
the opposite of replicated, or whether it's somewhere in the middle. We'll be looking at the growth data. We'll be looking at the labor market data very closely, of course, and making an overall judgment about that. It's the totality of the data, I think, but with a particular focus on making progress on inflation.
If I could follow up, last month you said there were benefits to moderating the pace of increases because it would give you more information to make decisions. Would another CPI report like the one we just had in June allow you to at least maintain that slower pace and defer until the fall any decision on whether you need that second rate hike?
So I'm just going to tell you again, what we're going to do in September, we're going to look at 2 additional job reports, 2 additional CPI reports, lots of activity data. And that's what we're going to look at, and we're going to make that decision then. And that decision could mean another hike in September, or it could mean that we decide to maintain at that level. And again, the question we're going to be asking ourselves is the overall signal one that we need to do more, that we need to tighten further? And if we get that signal whenever we get it, then, and that's the collective judgment of the committee, then we will move ahead. If we don't, then we'll have the option of maintaining policy at that level. But it's really dependent so much on the data, and we just don't have it yet.
Interesting.
Hi, Chris Rugaber at Associated Press. So consumer confidence in the economy is rising, likely in large part because of the declines in headline inflation. You also see wages are also rising faster than prices now after trailing them for a long time. How much are Americans truly harmed by inflation at its current level, headline level of 3%? And with that in mind, when do you put some weight back on the employment side of the dual mandate?
So I guess I'd say it this way. First, it is a good thing that headline inflation has come down so much, because that's really what the public experiences. And I would say that having headline inflation move down that much almost creates it will strengthen the broad sense that the public has that inflation is coming down, which will in turn, we hope, help inflation continue to move down. So you were really, sorry, but what your question was?
Well, I mean, you've talked for many press conferences now about the harm created by inflation, how hard it is for people. So how much of that are we still seeing with inflation now down at 3?
So I guess I would put it this way. I'd say it this way. It's really a question of how do you balance the two risks, the risk of doing too much or doing too little. And, I would say that, we're coming to a place where there really are risks on both sides. It's hard to say exactly whether they're in balance or not, but as our stances become more restrictive and inflation moderates, we do increasingly face that risk. But, we need to see that inflation is durably down that far. As you know, we think, and most economists think, that core inflation is actually a better signal of where headline inflation is going, because headline inflation is affected greatly by volatile energy and food prices. So we would want core inflation to be coming down, because that's what we think that's core is signaling where headline is going to go in the future. And core inflation is still pretty elevated. There's reason to think it can come down now, but it's still quite elevated. And so we think we need to stay on task, and we think we're going to need to certainly hold policy at a restricted levels for some time. And we need to be prepared to raise further if we think that's appropriate.
Well, and then if inflation were to, just a quick follow, if it stays at 3 or drops even a little bit more, I mean, how much of an increase in unemployment do you think is acceptable to get that last bit of inflation? People are talking about the potential difficulty of the so-called last mile of inflation. So but how much unemployment do you think is justified to get down that last?
So it
1
is a very positive thing that actually the unemployment rate is the same as it was when we lifted off in March of 22 at 3.6%. So that's a real blessing, and that we've been able to achieve some disinflation. And we don't seek to, it's not that we're aiming to raise unemployment, but I would just say the historical record, we have to be honest about the historical record, which does suggest that when central banks go in and slow the economy to bring down inflation, the result tends to be some softening in labor market conditions. And so that is still the likely outcome here. And, you know, we hope that that's as little as possible. We have to be honest that is the likely outcome. The worst outcome for everyone, of course, would be not to deal with inflation now, not get it done. Whatever the short-term social costs of getting inflation under control, the longer-term social costs of failing to do so are greater. And that the historical record is very, very clear on that. If you go through a period where inflation expectations are not anchored, inflation is volatile, it interferes with people's lives and with economic activity, and you know that's the thing we really need to avoid and will avoid.
At this point, you say the policy is restrictive, but all year long we have seen growth surprise to the upside, unemployment to the downside, and inflation lately to the downside. So I'm wondering, by definition, should you be restrictive enough right now under these conditions? Do you think you might need to do more? Because I'm curious about what you see as inflation dynamics now. Is the economy still moving in a direction where it creates more inflation? People talk about base effects and higher energy costs, and now we have some large labor settlements. Or is the economy disinflating? And you're able to go back to the old Fed policy of opportunistic disinflation.
So I'll just say, again, the broader picture of what we want to see is we want to see easing of supply constraints and normalization of pandemic-related distortions to demand and supply. We want to see economic growth running at moderate or modest levels to help ease inflationary pressures. We want to see continued restoration of supply and demand balance, particularly in the labor market, and all of that should lead to declining inflationary pressures. And what we see is we see those pieces of the puzzle coming together, and we're seeing evidence of those things now. But I would say that what our eyes are telling us is that policy has not been restrictive enough for long enough to have its full desired effects. So we intend to keep policy restrictive until we're confident that inflation is coming down sustainably toward our 2% target, and we're prepared to further tighten if that is appropriate. And we think the process, still probably has a long way to go.
Well, do you think under current conditions you are restrictive enough unless something changes?
Well, I think we think, today's rate hike was appropriate, and I think we're going to be looking at the incoming data to inform our decision at the next meeting about is the incoming data telling us that we need to do more, and if it does tell us that, collectively, if that's our view, then we will do more.
Thank you. Colby, Financial Times. If there is in fact a live meeting, how does that square with the need for a more gradual tightening pace that you spoke of last month in explaining the rationale for holding the funds rate steady at the June meeting?
So a more gradual pace doesn't go immediately to every other meeting. It could be 2 out of 3 meetings, right? It just means if you're slowing down, the point really was to slow down the decision cycle as we get closer and closer to, we think, our destination. And I wouldn't want to go automatically to every other meeting because I just don't think I think it's not an environment where we want to provide a lot of forward guidance. There's a lot of uncertainty out there. We just want to keep moving at what we think is the right pace. And I do think it makes all the sense in the world to slow down as we now make these finally judged decisions. And so that's what we did. And so I think it's possible, I mentioned before, it's possible that we would move at consecutive meetings. We're not taking that off the table, or we might not. It's really going to depend on what the data tell us. That's the best we can do.
So we shouldn't assume that every other meeting is the lowest tightening frequency, let's say. It could be, longer intervals in between as well.
I think we're gonna make a decision about the next meeting, and then we're gonna make a decision about the one after that, and I think it'll sort itself out.
Thanks. Howard Schneider with Reuters. Among your colleagues, there have been people who've said they feel that very little transmission has taken place so far from monetary policy into the economy, and there are those who feel, they say it's happened very fast this time and it's kind of up to date. Where are you on that continuum?
So there's a long-running debate about the lags between changes in financial conditions and the response to those changes from economic activity and inflation, right? So we know that in the modern era, financial conditions move in anticipation of our decisions, and that has clearly been the case in this cycle. So in a sense, the clock starts earlier than it used to, but that doesn't necessarily change the process from that point on, and it's not clear that it has. I'll tell you what we know and then what we don't know. We know that financial conditions affect economic activity and inflation with a lag that can be long and variable, or lags, plural, that can be long and variable. A lot of uncertainty around the length of the lags, and by the way, that's just one component of the broader uncertainty that we face. The first thing to say is we're determined to bring inflation down to 2% over time, and we will use our tools to do that. No one should doubt that. I would look at it this way, though. The real federal funds rate is now in meaningfully positive territory. If you take the nominal federal funds rate, subtract the mainstream
What do you guys thought so far on this?
Near-term inflation expectations, you get a real federal funds rate that is well above most estimates of the longer-term neutral rate.
I don't know,
So I would say monetary policy
So
is
listen.
restrictive, more so after today's decision, meaning that it is putting downward pressure on economic activity and inflation. We'll keep monetary policy restricted until we think it's not appropriate to do so. So that's how I think about it. I mean, if I sum it up, I would say we've come a long way. We are resolutely committed to returning inflation to our 2% goal over time. Inflation has proved stronger than we and other forecasters have expected. And at some point that may change. We have to be ready to follow the data. And given how far we've come, we can afford to be a little patient as well as resolute as we let this unfold.
On the credit side, I'm wondering if you saw anything in the latest SLOOS data that made you think you're getting a quantum of credit contraction beyond what you'd expect. The bank lending data really is, the growth rates edging down towards and heading below zero, which is usually a recession indicator.
So I guess the SLOOS will come out early next week, and I would just say it's broadly consistent with what you would expect. You've got lending conditions tight and getting a little tighter. You've got weak demand, and it gives a picture of pretty tight credit conditions.
Yeah, I would say so far,
tease
from what
out
I've heard
how
in the
much of it is from
Q&A
the source
session,
of that source.
it seems that Powell is definitely more on the hawkish side. He did say he doesn't think policy has been restrictive enough for long enough to bring inflation to target. There's still a long way to go. I'm reading this from the Live Squawk Twitter feed. So for me, that's, if they're hawkish on continuing interest rate hikes, that would imply more bearishness for risk on assets. What do you guys think, or what did you guys take away from the Q&A session?
I think he just said that he wanted to keep the monetary policy restrictive.
Yeah.
So to me, that typically involves raising interest rates or reducing the money supply.
Yeah.
Just kind of slow down the economic growth. Just to keep the whole point was to keep inflation under control. So tightening, yes. I think the central bank will try to prevent the economy from kind of overheating and maintaining that price stability. But at the same time, it's strange. It's like he sees that he says that I think the Federal Reserve can exercise some patience in its approach. So it doesn't seem like they're in a hurry to make abrupt policy changes, and they're waiting for more data to come out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both you guys. Personally, I think that, I mean, it's still going to be a long way until we get like a low inflation, or so what he was saying, basically, it's like Eric was saying, it's going to take a lot longer than what people are expecting. So yeah, I mean, currently I don't know what's really to expect from that.
Yeah, but one thing I'm reading from Walter Bloomberg, he's like a Twitterer or X, I guess Xer now, whatever. Like one analyst is saying the lack of changes in the policy statement was a surprise, and while there was a slight increase in the hawkish tone regarding economic growth, the overall message is that the Fed is neither dismissing nor confirming the possibility of another rate hike. So
Okay.
yeah, he's always kind of like, snaking between words and not
Yeah.
really, obviously he's not telling people what the Fed is planning to do. So yeah, I'm not really sure what to make of it. I'm not really, a macro economist. I'm a crypto trader. So
Yeah, as well.
yeah.
Like the Bulls won today.
Yeah, especially for the alts.
Yeah. Just for today.
Just
Maybe
for
tomorrow.
today. Yeah. Wait until Asian session and then see what happens.
Yeah. We'll see.
I feel like whenever I
But for now, I was just altcoins. Yeah, go on.
No, I was just saying, like, whenever I wake up, there's always something that happens in the Asian. I don't know. Yeah, Solana actually came down a bit. So, is this the 1 hour close? Yeah, it's a 1 hour close. now.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think it's also the 4 hour. No, that would be at 12. Yeah, it's a 1 hour. Okay, so if you look at Solana here, I mean, it didn't close above the range. So, I mean, what I would wait for here is I'd be actually looking for some sell stops below 25. What are your thoughts? I'm thinking more
For Solana?
Yeah, because if you look on the 1 hour time frame, we have that resistance at 20.21, right? And we actually didn't close below. I mean, close above that level. Because I was hoping
Yes.
that it would close above and then maybe take some longs back up to like 26.
Yeah, I definitely think 26 and 27 is the target in this
Yeah.
case. But I don't think we're going to see under 23 again. This area seems to be pretty decently supported. So
Yeah, I agree.
for now, I'm thinking like bullish, neutral. It's just some more range bound behavior between 23 and 27. But I think likely 27 is that kind of, as you said previously, that magnet
Yeah,
resistance that they're going to be looking to at least attain.
exactly. Yeah, let's go over. I'll go over Bitcoin one more time. This meeting is gonna come to an end soon. But I also just want to go over CoinW, the copy trading, because basically, if you guys are new to trading and if you are on CoinW, then you guys must definitely check out copy trading. Myself, Eric, and Boris are on here. You can see we're at the top here, top trader Boris here in the beginning at the front. Ari is also a trader of CoinW. There's me, and then we have Eric as well to the right here. So if you guys are interested, have a look at our strategies. You can look at our history. If you click, like for example, if you click me, it will show you my overview, my month. Like this has obviously been one of my better months, but you can see that from Q3 to Q7. From month 3 March to month now, obviously. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that, have a look at CoinW. And Boris and Eric did have to leave, but yeah, I do appreciate everyone being here. Basically, I'm actually like for Bitcoin. Yeah, we closed above this level, so we could look at potential longs. I want to see a break of this previous high, and then we can take some longs. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys did miss what I was saying earlier, and what Boris was saying, and